Hi, Malcolm from Guitars Rock. This is a 1960 Gibson Les Paul Custom Black Beauty with the 3 pickups. It's a true vintage guitar, and it's quite a cool story, and I thought I'd share it with those that are interested, because the baby boomers of the era I come from, so I'm now 65 and played in a band in the 70s. The owner of this played in a band in the 60s, but how often do we reflect back on those days and the instruments that we played, and wondered what the value of those would be today if we'd have kept them rather than selling them on for a dime and a dollar sort of thing. Anyway, I got an email through Guitars Rock Limited, my website, from a guy in South Africa. He said, "Malcolm, I wonder if you could help me." He said, "I played in a band in the 60s in Hamilton, in the Waikato. The band was called the Satellites, and it was quite well known. However," he said, "my favourite guitar was the Les Paul Custom, the Black Beauty, and I had a few, but it was the Les Paul Custom that I kept, and I really thought I would be coming back to New Zealand to take up my musical career, but I've now been in South Africa for 50 years, and I left the guitar with my brother, who lives on a farm in the Waikato, and it's been in its case, in its canvas bag, under the bed for the last 50 or so years. He said, I haven't sold it till now, but time has come and I need to move it on. I wonder if you could help me get a value for it, da-da-da-da." So I said, "Righto, could you arrange with your brother to meet me in Hamilton, and I'll pick up the guitar and bring it home and sort it out." So he said yes, but my brother's a recluse. He has no family, he has no children, he lives on his own on this farm. He doesn't have a computer, he has an answer phone on his telephone, and I struggle to get hold of him. So, okay, I said, "Well, you know, what can you do?" And he said, "Well, I'll just ring and leave messages." So, funnily enough, a week later, and we finally got in touch with his brother. So we arranged a meeting time and place in Hamilton, and I drove down and met his brother, picked up the guitar, and I said, "Thanks very much, I'll chuck it in my car and we'll take it home, and I'll open the case up and take photos and check it out." And da-da-da-da. So that's what I did. So I brought it back to Orewa in Auckland, and I got the camera out, and well, before I go to the condition, explain the condition that it was in, if you don't know Hamilton or the Waikato, the temperature range and climate down there in winter is sort of -5 degrees up to about 30 degrees in summer, and so you've got some really cold and some really hot, humid type climates happening throughout the year. So this guitar, obviously the wood has been expanding and contracting through the years, and it has in some ways shown that up in the condition that it was in when I opened the case. First thing I noticed when I pulled it out was a split in the back of the neck, running vertically from the base of the headstock down to about the 7th fret, and then where the fretboard was sitting on the body, the fretboard had lifted up off the body. Apart from that, and apart from corrosion and rust and the natural dings and so on that had happened whilst it was being played at gigs, it was in pretty good condition. So anyway, I contacted my luthier Peter Zetwitz, who is probably the best luthier in New Zealand. He's based on the North Shore in Auckland, and explained all about this guitar, and he said yes. He said I can repair the neck and get that the fingerboard flat and level again on the body, and get that secured fastly and glued, etc. So I took that over to Peter, and while I was doing this, I'd sort of contacted one of my colleagues in the USA and explained that there was a guitar here, a vintage guitar, and I knew this guy in the States would be interested because he is a collector of vintage guitars. He has his own museum, and as soon as I mentioned it, he said, yes, I am interested, and after some time describing the guitar and the fact that we were going to clean it up and make those couple of repairs, we sort of settled on a price. So I've just picked the guitar up again today from Peter Zetlitz, the luthier, and I'll just run through it. You can see the case is fairly well rusted up in terms of the latches here, the GIBSON logo, and the handle. That's my crikey, it's quite heavy. Well, it's very heavy, in fact. So if we just open it up, and pull it out, there she is. So you can see that there's quite a bit of corrosion on the three pickups there, on the bridge. Now the only addition, I suppose, to the guitar that the owner made at the time back in the 60s was to put this Bigsby on it. It was initially just had the stock tail bridge there, so that's the only change out that's happened. So it's in pretty good nick. There is the odd mark there, there's some wear here on the neck around the 12th fret where it's been played fairly intensively, and the back of it's in pretty good condition. There's a bit of buckle rash through here that you probably can't see. The neck has been repaired, and you couldn't tell it that was split. Peter's done a great job there. The serial number is 00759. The 0 stands for the year 60, and the 0759 depicts the production quantity of this model in the year of 1960. So it was the 759th guitar made in 1960. Oh, guitar, or Les Paul custom anyway. It's got the Grover pickups, tuners, and they've got corrosion and rust on those, but all the hardware originally, well, it's still gold, and you can see gold tinges still on it, but that gold has been sort of worn away. You can't see it that much on the pickups now. The headstock with the Les Paul custom split diamond, nice and yellowed. The inlays, the pearloid inlays, are still in great condition. It's an ebony fretboard, and there's a little bit of wear there where it's been played. And I think I did notice there was the odd split here. There's a split in that pearloid there, and down there as well. But the little screws are all rusted. The latch on the or the fitting on the fingerboard there is rusted there, and Peter's done a pretty good job in setting it up. She rings pretty clear. So I'm on the 21st fret there. And he set it up really low to the fretboard. It feels very, very nice. Okay, so that's the guitar. I'll put that back in the case. The other thing I thought was quite cool is the canvas bag that the case was in, the guitar in the case and the canvas bag. And the domes are sort of corroded and rusted there, but the zip's fine. That still works. And it can fit in the canvas bag. I don't know how many of these would be left around the world. So that's quite a good story there, I thought, on the vintage, the 1960s vintage Les Paul Custom Black Beauty. Now, in terms of the value of that, you could buy yourself a very nice 2.5 litre SUV 2015 model motor vehicle for the value of that guitar. And if it hadn't had the modification of the waiver bar and was in slightly better condition, it could have probably fetched enough for 2 cars. So anyway, that's a good little story there, and just pays to keep those old guitars under the bed for many years, and at some stage you can cash them up. Okay, thank you very much for watching.